could talk for the whole session about what he's doing, but just suffice it to say that he is literally one of our most illustrious alumni. Today, he is the chairman of the Global Social Impact Investment Steering Committee and the Portland Trust, something that he founded himself. After leaving McKinsey, founded Apax, which everyone should know about, the global private equity firm, and then has launched a whole series of investments around impact investment and impact investing. Well, thank you for being with us. I thought it'd start really at a broad level on capitalism.
My view about capitalism is that it has evolved greatly in the course of my career. We've seen, of course, the age of entrepreneurship. When I started in the firm in 1969, big companies were the thing. But it was obvious that small was going to be beautiful because innovation was more easily and more successfully carried out by smaller organizations. But I realized that the gap between rich and poor, which I thought would be helped by entrepreneurship, was actually being exacerbated by it. Not that you didn't create a lot of jobs and you didn't make economies higher growth through entrepreneurship and innovation, but somehow the way the capital was being allocated meant that the rewards to capital were much greater than the rewards to labor, and the gap between rich and poor got bigger and bigger. I began to interest myself on why we had been so versatile at developing ways of funding those who want to take risks in order to make money, but had failed to find mechanisms for raising capital for those who want to help others, putting it very, very simply. And as I worked through the reasons, it became apparent to me that something quite fundamental was going to have to change in our capitalist system. And I can now see, 17 years after I started to look at this, that this paradigm shift is going to disrupt the models of entrepreneurship, of big corporations, of philanthropy, and of government.
In what dimensions do you see?
It's beginning to be apparent to me that business entrepreneurs are going, not all of them, but many of them, are going in their effort to solve these types of problems, to create business models that can go faster than the mainstream economy would allow them to grow because of the social impact. And of course they can attract greater talent.
That wants the purpose. And
that want the purpose, and at some stage they will probably have a lower cost of capital because they will be perceived as not having threats that companies that disregard their social or environmental consequences, would have.
Do you mind just an example?
Sure. So in 2010, we developed in the UK the first social impact bond, as it's come to be called. And we basically said, look, we will raise some money from investors who are driven to try and achieve risk, return, and impact, to help prisoners, 60% of whom return to jail within 18 months of their release, particularly younger prisoners. And to the extent that we can reduce the number beyond the threshold of 7.5%, below that it would be a philanthropic donation. The greater the reduction, the greater the yield, and you can get from 1 to 13% return.
Right.
And the punchline, Dom, is government is paying about a third of the saving in the first year from preventing these young people from going through the law courts into prison.
Yeah.
So you have a mechanism here that can work on prevention of social issues. You can prevent people from going to jail. There are today 74 social impact bonds across the world. Fantastic. In 18 countries addressing 14 different social issues.
Right.
Dropout rates from school, dropout rates from university, prevention of type 2 diabetes, homelessness, teenage pregnancy, and on. If I'm right, over the next several decades, the flows of capital within our whole system are going to be directed in a more purposeful way from the point of view of society. Not just because people feel the moral imperative as the millennial generation does, but because it's going to become the key to being a leader in your business area.